Hey everyone, it's Alison Heikkila. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we are going to be playing with some new Spellbinders dies. I'm really excited about it. I'm going to be trying to use them in a way that they weren't necessarily intended to be used, simply because this is supposed to be a stitched die set. So you can see all of these holes here. And once you die cut your paper, you're supposed to take like embroidery floss and you can actually stitch on these die cuts. But I don't do embroidery, so I'm going to use them without these components. We're not even using the circles today. We're going to be using, of course, the string itself. We've got the light caps. This is what the electricity runs through to attach to the bulb. So we're just going to use solid bulbs as opposed to these stitched pieces. You can use them without stitching because there's embossed lines and the holes are kind of cool. I have some ideas on what to do with them without actually stitching, but that's for another time. So I'm going to clear these pieces away because we don't need them right now. Again, this is the stitched string lights, and later on we're going to bring in another components to this stitched collection. So you can see that I've die cut a bunch of pieces here, and what I used for that is some Bazzill basics in Bazzill green. Great texture, love this color. It's like the perfect wire color for these holiday lights. And what we need now, of course, are the lights themselves. So what are we going to use to create the lights? Well, I was originally going to just use colored cardstock, but I was like, that's kind of like, yeah, duh, you can use colored cardstock. Like, you don't need a video on that. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll do some ink blending, but I gotta be honest, guys, it's hot, I'm tired. We've had a long, fun week with the family. My husband's on vacation, so we've been doing lots of fun things. I'm filming this way later than I typically would a video, and I wanted to do something fun, simple, and perhaps you may not have thought of. So we're going to use alcohol ink. So check this out, guys. I've got a couple of old alcohol ink pieces that I made a while back, and I'm just not in love with them. They're okay, but they're not really like great background material in my opinion. Part of the reason for that is because I used photo paper. I like to experiment not just with alcohol inks, but any medium to see what kind of papers or cardstocks or whatever substrates that I like to use them on. Even if they're not necessarily intended for that, I like to experiment. That's part of the fun of being a creator, right? So this is just glossy photo paper. This is from HP. So I don't really like alcohol ink on photo paper. And I'm sure that many of the, professional alcohol ink artists out there, I don't consider myself one of those, would say never, never use it on photo paper. It doesn't really move very well. You get a lot of staining. You can't lift it up. That's okay. But this effect is going to work for what we're doing today. So I grabbed two more pieces of photo paper. This is HP. This one isn't. I should grab another piece of this HP. Let me do that. So that this way they have the same amount of glossiness to them. I'll grab that in a minute. Actually, I could just cut this in half because I don't need that much. We're going to just cut this. Done. Problem solved. See that? Okay, because I'm only going to cut a few of these bulbs out, right, of each color. So we'll wind up using these. Like I said, they were in my stash. I wasn't really thrilled with them, so we'll just figure that out later. The colors I used for that are, I believe, Glacier. Let me pull this back in. Looks like there's Glacier there. Looks like there's some Aquamarine in there as well, which is what this is. These are just my swatches. This is done on Jot poster board paper from Dollar Tree. This is what I predominantly use my alcohol inks on. I just happen to really like this substrate and it's cheap. So I'm happy with it. It's different from other papers. It's not perfect, but I prefer to use that. So that's what these chips are made of. But again, today we're going to use glossy photo paper. And then the other one was done with my favorite green that I own, which is Mojito. I love Mojito. I think that this color is just delicious. I love it. There might be some Aquamarine in here too. It looks like there is, but those are definitely the main colors here. So I also pulled Crimson and Dandelion. This is Crimson. Nope, sorry, that's Watermelon. This is Crimson. You can see it's a really nice red. Watermelon would work too, but I liked the Crimson better for this. And then this is Dandelion. So those are the four colors we're using for our lights. And now what we're going to do, I'm going to move this stuff off to the side. I'm going to start with my Dandelion. Open this up. I also have my alcohol ink blending solution and my blower tool. This is different from the blower tool that's currently on the market. The bulb is bigger. It doesn't have this piece. This piece is just meant for putting markers in and turning them into like an airbrush. I don't really ever use it for that, but that's what this is. It's the same kind of concept as the big blower that's available, but I can't seem to find this particular model anywhere else. So the air blower will be listed in my description box with a link, as is all of the other supplies. All the supplies that I use will be in the description box below. Just make sure that you expand the box. Just click more so that you can see all of the links and full descriptions. So I'm going to start by adding some of this blending solution onto my photo paper. And now I'm going to drop my Dandelion kind of all over this. And now I'm just going to use my blower tool. I'm not doing this the way I normally do, mostly because it's photo paper and I know it's not going to react the way my Jot poster board paper does, but also because we're just going to be die cutting these little bulbs out. I don't need to go crazy with this. I do want a little bit of variation in color, so that it does kind of work with the other two pieces that we have. But, you know, the yellow doesn't really get super dark or anything. So I might just kind of stop here and leave it be. Maybe add a little bit more over here on the side in case I need it. But that's kind of all we're doing. We'll probably work a little harder with the crimson. I'm gonna just... You can see that it's really not, once it's dry, it's not going to move the way it does on like Yupo. That's just not what this stuff does. It's just going to kind of soak that in, and that's fine. We're not looking to make a masterpiece here. We just want to get this color on here because I want my substrates to match with the bulbs. Okay, so now that's done. I've got some isopropyl alcohol here. I'm going to just clean this up. Normally, I would just kind of dunk another piece of paper into this, but for the sake of time, I'm going to just clean this up. Okay, that's that. I'm going to grab this. This is just a little pencil mark on here or something. I'm not worried about it. I just won't cut that area. More of the blending solution. And now I've got my crimson. This is such a nice, rich color. Okay. And I'm just going to use my blower tool. You don't ever want to use a straw, guys. Don't use a straw with your alcohol inks. You don't want to be breathing this stuff in. Make sure that you're working in a well-ventilated area. If you have breathing troubles like asthma, be very careful. I have asthma, but I know that I've got a fan going behind me to kind of help, and it's by my window, so we're working safely. Just don't ever use a straw. You don't want to be getting that close to this stuff. You can also spritz some of the isopropyl on here if you want to, just to kind of break it up further. But again, we're not going for alcohol ink masterpieces today. We just want to get the color to move around so that we can have some variation in the color for our bulbs. So blending solution helps the color move and blend together. Isopropyl is going to kind of break up the color a bit and could fade it a bit. I think that this is fine. It's not showing up with as many color variations as I see in person. There's a little bit more visual interest happening, you know, from my eye as opposed to what's getting picked up on the camera, but I think this is just fine. So again, I'm going to close this up, spray my glass mat here, and we will start die cutting. Sorry about that. We will start die cutting the blue and the green pieces since those are long dry. They've been in my stash for months, if not longer. It's nice to just make backgrounds sometimes without like a purpose. Just kind of make stuff and play, and then, you know, when you use it, you use it. So I have no idea when I made these. It was ages ago. And now I get to use it and I'm happy. So I'm going to figure out where I want these bulbs. I don't want to just slap it down anywhere. Like, I don't like this. Can you see that? These little like finger-like areas. It's fine for other things, but for the bulb, I don't want that. I want it to be a little bit smoother looking. So kind of like this. This looks like a highlight right here. So I am going to cut this out. You don't have to cut them out. I just think that for my purpose, it's going to be better to not run this through the die cut machine a billion times. So I'm going to I've got some mint tape here, and I'm going to just bring this to my die cut machine and cut that out in a minute. Let's do another one. And I don't want it to be too purpley pinky either. These are my blue bulbs, so I don't want them to have, you know, a whole lot of other colors in it. I think this area is good too. So there's 2 of each shape in the die set. I'm going to be die cutting a whole lot of these. You will not have to watch me do all of that, but I wanted you to see how I figure out my placement for this. So I am going to die cut all of these pieces and then come back, we'll start assembling, and we'll work on our background. I have die cut and glued 4 of each of the colors, and I hope that it's coming up well on camera, especially the yellow. Yellow, I'm not sure if you can see the color variation, but I think that the effect is so cool. They have a great shine because we use the photo paper, and the variegation of the colors just makes them so much more interesting. So you just quick couple drops of glue on the back, adhere everything, and they're ready to be strung. So I have my card base here, plain white card base, and we need our background. So this is the other new item we're using from Spellbinders. Excuse me, this is the stitched Starfilled background, and you get the background and then you get the coordinating frame die. You don't have to use them together. It cuts 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, so standard A2 card front, and then again it just fits right in there, and if you want to stitch things you can. If you don't, that's okay too. We are not going to be stitching. So I have this very old Dazzle cardstock from Die Cuts with a View. And I was originally thinking that I would use this blue. Let me move this over. The blue is very nice, but then I'm like, there's silver. I think the silver would just be really cool. I don't think that there's a bad choice. What's nice about this paper is that the color, the glitter doesn't rub off at all. I don't think we have a wrong choice with either of these 2 colors, but I think, I don't know, I'm really torn, you guys. I think we're going to go with the silver, because originally in my head when I was planning out this card, I was like, oh, I'm going to just, I'm going to go with the silver and try to find something that I have in my stash. I wasn't even sure what glitter paper I had, and then I came across this paper pad and I was like, oh, well, this is silver and it's perfect. And then I saw the blue and I was like, that might be really cool. Look, we'll start with the silver, and if we don't like it, we cut a piece of blue. It's all good. Okay. I am going to set this up, get it ready for my die cut machine. Put this like this. This guy is going to go in here like so. Try to get that border to be as even as possible. Of course, I'm coming off the edge. That's okay. All right, I think that looks pretty good. I've got some more of my mint tape here. Just putting a couple of pieces. Just really, it's less about the paper and more about the dies. And I'm going to get this die cut real quick. Okay, let's see how this looks. Hopefully we love it. Ooh. Now this is not regular cardstock, so it's behaving a little funny. Okay. Look at that. Now, not all of the holes popped out. You can just take a pokey tool and do that if you're so inclined, or you can just leave them be. I'm not sure if I care one way or the other at the moment. We'll see what happens when we do more to it. Let's move these little light bulbs over. Now, how do we feel about this? Do we love this? Or not so much? I think this is really cute, actually. That's kind of fun, you guys. I think that that's really sweet. Okay, so I think that the trickiest thing now is to kind of figure out where the bulbs are going to go so that you have room to have a bunch of strands, because I don't want to have, you know, just 2 strands. Although if that happens, that's not the end of the world, because we can always just use our leftovers at another time. I kind of love this, you guys. I think this is really cute. How fun. Okay. Now we need to glue. And this might be a little tedious, simply because this is a pretty fiddly die, the string. But that's okay. We're gonna make it work, and we're gonna do it quick, and it's gonna be adorable. So I think this is really sweet so far. We might only need 3. I was planning on using 4 strands, but I don't really know if we need it. And also, we need to decide if we're going to use a sentiment. So there's that also. I think we need another green here. Somewhere. Maybe the green's going to go there. Oh, look, you guys. Oh, I think that's so cute. I don't think that we need anything else. And then we've got an extra strand to be used at another time. And this is an easy thing to, you know, make more of. It's just a single die. And then we've got 2 of each color light bulbs left, which is great. You know, we can do a totally different card at another time, and that just saved us a lot of time. I think this is really sweet. Okay. Do we want a sentiment? I'm not sure. We'll decide that later. But now we're going to start to glue. And I don't really want to make you guys watch me glue all of this stuff, but I'll just do this part quick. I've got my Barely Art glue. Use whatever fine tip glue that you love. It doesn't have to be a wet adhesive. There are those sheets of dot adhesives that you can get. And you just kind of rub it onto the back of fiddly dies like this. And, you know, you can use that if you want to. Whatever works. I do want to make sure that my my wire goes off the edge. And then we'll just glue these guys down. So these have holes in them too. The socket part of is it a socket? I don't know. This part here has holes that you can stitch as well, if that's your thing. I love how the stitching looks when it's done on these dies, or just in general. I love how embroidery looks, but it's just not something that I do. My mom does it. She's really good at it. My sister's done it. But it's just not my thing. Part of it is because the stitching and holding the needle is really bad for my hands. But I do other stuff. So anyway, kudos to anybody that does it. I love it and I appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to glue the rest of this. I might move this bulb. I'm not sure. And then we'll come back. Everything has been glued. It's all dry. And I figured out my sentiment. So I have this wishes that I cut from the same green and silver cardstock that we used for the other components. And it's from the Happy Birthday Wishes die set. This came out, I want to say in June. Could have been July. But it's been out for at least a month. And I thought that it worked well. I was hoping to have a holiday die for this, but I don't really have one that's small enough that fits well. But I think that this is fine. Obviously, it's saying like Christmas wishes or holiday wishes or something like that. So I think it's really cute. I did go in and poke out a couple more of the holes, but because of the type of paper this is, it proved to be a little bit tedious. And really, when we get it on our white card base, which I won't be adding color to, you're not really going to notice those holes as much anyway, so it's okay. The reason that I cut the shadow layer of this instead of just putting the layers on top, the letters, excuse me, they got a little bit lost because of the holes in the background and the wire over here. I thought it was a little too confusing to the eye, and it was just easier to make that shadow layer, put it on top, put the letters on top of that, and then it just kind of works into the rest of the card. So I am going to first cut the ends off of these excess pieces here. You can save these for later, which I plan on doing. Maybe not this tiny piece here, but this long piece for sure I will, and that first one that we cut off. So these are perfectly good to use at another time. Save that for later. Oh, I got another one over here. Okay. Now we can adhere our wishes, and then we can glue the whole thing onto our card base, and this card is done. I don't really want to hide the loop too much, because I think it's really cute. I'm going to line it up though with this line here. We know it's straight then. I think that's cute. Isn't that fun? Do I want to move it over so that it's not on the lights? Maybe. And it's a little too centered, but not. We're going to put it back. You got to play with this stuff sometimes before you make your final decision. Okay. Now I've got this. I'm going to grab my glue with a bigger tip. I'm going to try not to put a whole lot because we've got these holes and such, and we don't want it to have a lot of squish coming out. There'll be a little bit, but that's okay. Again, you're not really going to see too much just because we're on a white card base, and it'll be fine. Okay. Making sure that that's lined up. And that's all she wrote. This is our finished card. I think it's so cute. And it's super sparkly, but it also has that nice glossy shine of the photo paper. So if you don't stitch or embroider, just like me, you might have passed up the Stitch collection, the Stitched Holiday collection, or maybe some of the other ones that have stitching details. But, you know, I encourage you to take another look at them and see how you can use them without the stitching. Just like we did today. No stitching necessary, but it still looks super cute and fun. And I really love the alcohol inked light bulbs. So I hope you learned a couple of things. I hope you have a couple of new ideas. Let me know in the comments if you do. I'd love to hear about them. And I will see you all very, very soon. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. Be well, stay safe. Peace out.